Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the final episode with a question mark. The final episode of Midori's Midnight Sessions for this year. Welcome to another episode, baby. We are finally recording again. I can't believe this is crazy. And I am coming in here first of all para magpasalamat sa inyo, guys. Thank you so much for all the love and support that you have given this podcast. It has been so amazing. Like, y'all, it is crazy the love that you have shown for this page. I can't believe that we've achieved a lot. Um, eto guys, can you believe this? We are the number one show. We are the number one show for six of you who have consistently listened to this podcast. Thank you so much for giving me. Wow. As kasi parang nasabi na ako na as. We, ganun. And can you believe this? Can you believe that? This bad boy right here. 133% growth. And that's just like in the last year alone. Look at that. We have a lot of audiences. We have a lot of followers. So, and 375% ang growth ng ating total audience and 133 nga ang ating followers. So, I just honestly want to thank you for giving us so much love and understanding. Wow. Pero kasi parang hindi ko yun expect gawa ng, you know, I just do this as like a creative outlet then for my what's in my mind. So yeah, I actually appreciate all of this. But now to the elephant in the room. A lot has happened, and I mean a lot has happened in the last few weeks or so since I last recorded. Kasi hindi lang I was gonna make like one for earlier this week. Hindi lang talaga ako hindi ako nakaano. I was gonna make another episode that I was gonna publish this Sunday, December 14th, but I wasn't able to make it. Pero I think um we will be pausing. This will be our final episode of the season, hopefully. And season 5, I don't know if we're gonna have a season 5, but whatever happens, that will be in the horizon. Hopefully soon. And hopefully I could have enough stuff to share with you, enough stuff to give you advice. Wow! sana mga sana yung mga advice ko, like, people would listen to that, you know. It's crazy, y'all. It is crazy. Um pero ito na nga. Honestly, the last few weeks have been really really crazy, you know, kasi parang ang dami nangyari na hindi ko like part of it, like I'm in the feeling na what, like, it's more of disbelief than anything else. So walang, as in, hindi lang talaga ako makapaniwala na nangyari to, ganyan, ganito, ganyan. And that is because Ate Jack actually gave me a book. I was reading it kanina while I was at school. And yes, that's the other one. So kasi parang alam niyo yun, like in the last episode kasi parang sinabi ko na hindi kasi ako masyadong nabibigyan na regalo. You know, like, hindi ako yung hindi ako yung receiver. I always give but I barely receive anything. And especially like from people that are outside the familial relationship. Wala masyado. So parang nagulat talaga ako nung may inabot sa akin si Ate Jack a few weeks ago na paper bag. And I was just like, wait, what? I thought I was gonna give you something. If you remember, in the last episode din, I talked about making something for her. And I did make cupcakes for her. And I also bought, bumili din kasi ako ng notebook and the memo pad and the correction tape. I gave that to her. And hindi ko talaga ina-expect Wala akong ina-expect na kahit ano. So, nagulat ako. Pati ako binigyan. Pero, I think it is more like, really, parang nakakataba na puso. Like, talagang nung time na yun, hindi ako like, ha? Ba't ako binibigyan? Like, what? This is crazy. Like, hindi naman ako deserve bigyan, like, alam ko kasi kung anong feeling. And, na, ikaw yung magbibigay. Alam ko, hindi na ako nag-expect masyado ng kung magbibigay man sila. Kaya talaga pag nagbibigay sila, magugulat talaga ako. And then, I really, really shared a lot of heavy stuff with her. But, like, that's for another day. That's for another time. Or more like, I already forgot what I said back then. But let's actually jump to a week later. After nung regalong yun. Nung exchange gift. Nung literal na exchange gift. Kasi, in an unprecedented, and I mean just mind-blowing encounter. Wow, encounter. Pero, like, this is so unprecedented. Kasi ang akala ko nasa Cebu sila. Like, they were gonna stay there for, I don't know how long. And then, bumalik sila. nitong nakaraang linggo sa simbahan. And I'm like, nasa taas ako I'm actually seated at the very back. I was actually directly behind kung sino man nagmamando ng PowerPoint. And then, parang, hindi ako makapaniwala, nagpe-prayer lead na. Pero before that, like a few minutes before that, I saw somebody come into the cinema. Tapos dun sila sa unahan. I was like, ha? Masaya na sa unahan? Di ba dapat nasa likod yung mga yan? Like, di ba dapat ginagay yung chef papuntang pataas? Kasi usually, attendees would be guided to their respective seats at the cinema. And depende yun kung mapupuno yung kada row, diba? So sila pinapunta sila sa unahan. I'm like, what? What is going on? Like, parang doon pala may nasa-sense na ako. And then, I was listening. I was carefully listening. And I was like observing. Na partida, I have glasses Pero, the thing is, I'm near-sighted. I'm not far-sighted, So, nakikita ko yung malapit sa akin. But everything else, even with glasses on, it's very blurry. Pero naaninang ko, I could squint, I could squint and tell who it is based on the person's figure. And so, I heard his voice. And I was really observing, yung build niya. And I'm just thinking like, this guy's familiar. But I'm just like, wait, is that him? Is that actually him? Like, nasa Cebu ka, di ba? Ba't ka nandito? Di ba nasa Cebu ka? Anong ginagawa mo dito? Doon ka. May Sunday service ka rin doon ah. Bakit ka nandito? Di ba? Like, ha? Talaga mapapa-question ka sa sa nangyayari. Like, talagang parang hindi siya nagre-register sa akin. Hindi ako sure. I was actually not sure. Everybody in the room probably know already. Pero hindi ako sigurado kasi I haven't seen them in like, God knows how many years. It's nearly like 6 or 7 years since I last saw them. Everybody else saw them last year. So, parang saan ba? Like, sure ba kayo? Seryoso ba to? Ano ba to? Namamalik ba taba ako or what? Kasi talaga namamalik ba taba ako? Tama ba to? Tama ba itong suspecha ko? Is that actually him? And then, I was not believing anything talaga. I was not. Hindi ako sure talaga kung siya yun. And then, umupo na kami. Natapos na yung worship part. Siya yung parang nag-introduce. And he was like, parang nag-i-introduce siya na konti, parang he's just trying to hype the crowd. And then he says something like, "It's great to be back." And y'all, you will not believe this. You will not believe my reaction specifically. Because I was the only one that went when it happened. I was the only one. Like, everybody was like, "Oh my god!" But I was like, what the hell? What the actual fuck is happening? So I literally like, kasi talagang napatayo ako sa upuan ko. And I was just like, no way, 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 no way. There is no fucking way this is happening right now. You are not shitting me right now. You are absolutely not shitting me right now. Like, it's literally like I'm reacting to a Nintendo Direct. Or, I don't know, like, a special coverage, It's so weird. Like, talaga napatayo. And I'm just like, what? No! God! Like, oh my god, I actually was not mistaken. My eyes were actually right. My guess was actually right. What the hell? And for people that don't know, back in my first rodeo, talagang, I was on good terms with him. I was on friendly terms with him and Ate Sis. Yes, I'm talking about Kuya Neil. So talagang nagulat ako nung si Kuya Neil when he said it's so great to be back. And I was just like, holy fuck, you are shitting me right now. You are fucking shitting me right now. And I just had to pee. And on the way out to the bathroom, my mind was blown. My mind was in massive disbelief. Like, yo, I even tweeted out that very same day because I had data on. As in, hindi talaga ako makapaniwala sa nakikita ko. Kasi parang, it's been so long. It has been so long since I actually saw them too. Parang, talaga, hindi ako talaga makapaniwala kasi ang tagal na nung panahon. Like, it's even longer than everybody else in that room. Wait lang, hinahanap ko. Ito. Like, when I say I was gagged, I was gagged! Gagged! Y'all, I was gagged. Like, the gag. As in talagang, nga ang bibig ko. Nga ang bibig ko. Mula nung nagpakita, nung pumunta siya sa harap, hanggang umupo ako. Hanggang sa, sinabi niya yung linyang yun, my jaw was on the fucking floor. The floor! And this is what I said. So what do you mean? Kuya Neil's actually back and I'm like, say things! Like, akala ko talaga namamalikwat ako. And I'm just so glad. Pero kasi, like, I will talk about this later. I was so glad to see him. Akala ko siya lang. Akala ko talaga siya lang. Kasi, it was still, like, he's still at the same build from, like, God knows when, you know? Like, it was so weird to see. And, yeah, parang hindi talaga makapanawa. Somebody else did the preaching, though. Pero, like, after, I think, after that preaching, and then something happened, like, past missionary kind of prayer, I guess, like, and then everybody was like, and I think it was Kuya Bray or somebody else, Pastora says, and I'm like, with her too? Like, no fucking way. Are you serious right now? There is no way you are serious right now. Like, I was already surprised by Kuya Neil. And then she comes and it's a volcano of surprises. So, like, you just imagine, like, just so much has changed. And what? And then after the service was done, I was just like, I had to rush down. I had to rush down from where I was at the very back of the cinema to the very front. And then I actually as in talagang I really hugged Kuya Neil, and they couldn't believe that I was there. And honestly, the bond with these two, and especially Ate Ses, was so special to me. Like, it was so special to me na hindi ako makapaniwala na I'm so casual with the two of them. You know, like, I remember from my first rodeo na nasa McDo kami. This was, I believe this was an LG. Sumama ako noon. Tapos, Ate Ses and I, the goofballs that we are, may, nagpo-post kami sa harap ng salamin sa McDo. Tapos, ang gamit ko noon, iPhone ni Movie. Na pagkaliit-liit na iPhone 5S ata yun. This was 2018, ha? This was 2018. So, like, you know, with how my phone is right now, it's probably like a fourth of this size, you know? And then, you know, I was taller than her, actually. Like, even without heels on, I was still taller than her. And another thing about it is, my hands are, kung nakikita nyo, my arms are long. So, and she has a small frame. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I could literally envelop her na pwede ko pang yakapin yung sarili ko. And wow, like it was just so crazy to be in this, like just to see them too. Kasi while the preacher, Coach Joy, was an OG din, pero hindi ko siya naabutan when I was there. Hindi ko siya naabutan. So, parang mas close talaga ako dun sa dalawa. Along with, the rest of the former Edge guys. And eto na nga, parang I was kind of doing some errands for something that I'm thinking of doing along with the rest of the guys. Gusto ko, like, gusto ko sana bumalik. Gusto ko ano doon, makiusyoso ba? Makiusyoso doon. And then parang, ewan ko, bakit ang bigat? Like, honestly, ang bigat sa pakiramdam. Nasabi ko, parang, this is the first time I've felt this way since July. And it was pretty ironic kasi it was another, like, there was a milestone there as well. And then parang nakikita ko na ang saya-saya nung crowd. Like, talagang naalala ko, pagpasok ko ng venue, na parang ang bigat. Na, it feels like I stepped in a time machine. Ganun yung pakiramdam na, I stepped in that time machine. Tapos parang, they're like, people from the future, not the past. And it was just so, like, everybody was from the future, tapos ako parang I'm in the past. Kasi nga napakatagal napakatagal ng gap between me kind of leaving, I guess, and the time na bumalik ako. Ang tagal. It's been years. 6 years. If I'm not mistaken. So, alam mo yun, parang grabe yung significant distance between everybody else and me. Even the guys na I thought I did know, na akala ko kilala ko. I mean, I still know them, but I mean, people grow. That's just normal. Pero parang, with that, there's grief, And I remember, we had, sabi ko kay Ate Ses noon, nitong nakarang linggo, was to, if pwede kong makita yung yung wedding band. And I asked Kuya Neil this as well, na wala lang daw niya yung wedding band. Potik na yan. Sabi ko, ano ba naman yan? Wedding band na nga lang, mawawala pa. Ano ba yan? Pero sabi ko, sige, okay lang yan. And so I asked Ate Ses instead. And I held her hand. Tapos nakita ko yung, ang ganda nung sing-sing. It was just so sublime and sleek. That's what I like kasi about rings. And my style in general is always simple, timeless, and clean. Hindi ako nag-aano masyado. Kaya nga, I've pretty much stopped doing, or rather dressing in really patterned clothing. Yung mga, or logo clothing. Hindi na ako masyado nag-aano doon. Hindi na ako nang susuot ng ganon. Kahit dito, I mean, I only have one jersey kasi and like another strand shirt. Pero that's pretty much the only stuff na merong logo. And if may logo nga, parang hindi na sila masyadong nakikita or they're kind of shipped away. So parang alam mo yun, nakita ko, alam nyo, nag-sorry ako sa kanya kasi I wasn't able to see like just how cool it was to be proposed. Na parang alam na ko narinig ko kay kay Josel, na nakwento niya sa akin noon. So I wasn't there, I was, again, the gap is significant between back then and me coming back. And ako kasi parang, I had this idea, I had this mentality na parang ayokong ma-attach masyado. That's why I never really parang engaged beyond what, like hindi ako parang nag-LR. I never parang converted. I parang I just really stayed where I was. I wouldn't say na walang spiritual growth. There is. Pero like it mostly happened beyond the borders of the cinema. And talaga sila, naka-follow naman ako sa page nila, so I kind of know kung anong nangyayari. Pero I wasn't there. I wasn't physically there. So, alam mo yun, yung pakiramdam ng para ka nasa ibang mundo. Nasa ibang mundo ka na outsider ka pa rin. And this is what I felt back in July. Na para akong impostor. Pumasok ako sa venue na yun and I feel like an imposter. I should know the intricacies of what's happening in here. Pero bakit parang akong impostor? Parang you had the unfortunate, paano ba? You had the unfortunate circumstance that I've talked about too many times. Awa na lang, please. Ayoko na pong ikwento yun. I've talked about it too many times. Just go back to my previous episodes about it. You have had unfortunate circumstances coming your way and it really shaped you into a very pragmatic, hindi na nga ako masyadong idealist or optimist even eh. Like lalo na just this year alone, I've really developed like a very realistic worldview of things. Actually, kind of even more so than the people who are supposed to mentor me. Pero I mean, kasi tinitigan ko sila nung July, it was the whole venue. And it was like, hi, welcome. And I was really shrouded in anonymity. I was wearing a hat. I was wearing a coat. I was wearing a mask that time. So alam mo yun, wala talaga nakakakilala sa akin noon. And I preferred to be in that situation. Plus ang lamig. Ang lamig noon, ha? So alam mo yun, parang hindi nila ako makikilala. Ironically, But too bad, I actually did remove my mask, so people actually recognized me, even though I didn't want to be known that I was there. Like, it was so. I was actually adjusting to the fact na parang iba na kasi yung reality ko compared to everyone else. And it was like really hard to grasp. Like, hindi hindi ko magamay. Hindi ko matanggap din at the same time na iba na yung reality ko, iba na yung worldview ko kumpara sa iba na maybe would this be enough. And it happened this Sunday. But it was kind of a it made me feel a similar way like in July's anniversary event, na parang mas pinalala nito. It actually kind of triggered lang. Na parang tinitingnan ko sila and I was like, wow, parang I think I am an outsider after all. I am an outsider. Like, you just want to engage, but you don't want to at the same time. Na parang there's like a significant gap between you and everyone. Na parang in a way, hindi mo naman kasalanan. Hindi rin naman nila kasalanan. It's just, it happens, in between. It's just that worse shit happened to me. Like, I was already upfront with this back in July nung parang nagkakaroon na ng fellowship kin Emberlu. Na I was upfront about having a community, wanting to be in a community. Like, that actually sees the person what um beyond what people show them. And I think they do, pero I mean, come on, I think they will. I think everybody means well naman pag nag-aano sila. And I understand din na hindi naman lahat ng tao really know how to comfort somebody like me. So parang, alam mo yun, I, I don't have a choice sometimes na to tell people. I could tell people or I could just not tell them entirely. I'll leave them out of the equation to protect them. Or minsan, nakapag-open ka na nga sa isang tao pero like, ine-expect mo na nga na hindi naman lahat kaya yung kayang i-handle yung capacity. I mean, yung bigat na meron ka. Unfortunately, it really just poured. And honestly, it's more about the grief. It's more grief. Kasi I kind of flashed out at Ate Jack. This Tuesday. Kasi parang she was responding to my poem. And I was actually kind of using a house as a metaphor. Kasi the way I saw it was, imagine a house and malaki yung bahay, you know. Malaki yung bahay, mayaman yung tao nandun, may handaan. Tapos, pumun- pumunta ka doon sa bahay na yun, nakikain ka. Pero, I mean, pi- naki, I wouldn't say na nakikain ka, pero parang, pumasok ka lang doon, tapos parang, walang pake sa yung tao. But the worst thing about it is, hindi ka binigyan ng upuan doon sa lamesa. So parang, akala mo bahay mo yun. N- nandun ka na sa bahay, komportable ka na, okay ka na. And then, bigla may papasok na tao. Tapos, sa, sasabihin niya na, ay sorry, kasi kami yung nakatira dito eh. Papaalisin ka nila ng bahay. Or, they just won't offer you a seat at the table, you know? Pinakain ka na't lahat, pero parang hindi ka pa rin welcome sa bahay na yun. Na parang, yeah, bahay siya, pero parang distant relative ka na ngayon lang nila nakilala, na ngayon lang nila, you know, parang ampon ka. Parang ampon would be putting it lightly kasi parang distant relative ka na ngayon lang nila nakilala. Tapos, tinatrato ka nilang others. Ganon. Na parang, they, they give you like the cordiality of it all, you know. Mabait sila sa'yo, like, they give you something to eat. Pero imbes na babasaging plato at magagandang kutsara yung ibibigay sa'yo, paper plates, plastic na kutsara, spork pa nga minsan para hindi sayang. Ganun yung ganun yung pakiramdam. Na lahat yung pinundar mo, lahat, yung babasaging plato, pinundar mo yun, niluto mo lahat nung putahe na nandoon sa lamesa, pero ang ending, hindi rin naman pala sa'yo yung bahay. And then, Ate Jack was saying to me na, hindi din naman sa atin to, pero you have a seat at the table. I'm like, please stop. Since when? I wish I had, like, if there is, no, parang, why does no one give a fuck, you know? Like, I remember, nag-ano kami noon, and I was just so pissed at Giselle that time kasi she was really invalidating towards my experience. Tapos sabi niya, "Hoy, nahanap ka namin kasi magpipicture." And I'm like, I was so pissed. Like, talagang gago, ramdam mo talaga yung galit ko. Kasi ako, hindi ako, like, talagang nag-aano eh. Hindi ako nagagalit. Talaga. And naalala ko, uh, I literally raised the middle finger to Ate Jack that time. Tapos sabi ko, kasi talagang, I wouldn't, parang nakakagalit lang na she was saying that knowing what I said to her, parang ang nasa isip ko, why wasn't I allowed to grieve? You know? I formed a bond with the guys, you know? Like, I formed a bond with with Ate Ses and Kuya Neil. Like, parang, alam mo yun, nasa sa puso ko parang gusto ko rin sila makausap for a while. Like, spend time with them. Like, I get naman na kayo lang. That's your moment. I'll leave you to that. Pero parang, ang sakit. Kasi, you had a bond with them too. You know? And you had a moment as somebody na matagal ding nawala. Why weren't you given the same treatment as them? 'Di ba? Parang, "Uy! Oh my God! It's been a while." Parang, why does it feel so weird that they were given the same treatment? Pero, nawala din naman ako ng ilang taon na. Mas mahaba pa nga yung panahon na nawala ako kumpara sa kanila. Isang taon sila eh, lagpas, even. Pero imagine niyo ako, nawala ako ng 6 na taon. And I get crumbs. Pero siguro kasi, hindi naman kasi ako ganun ka-impactful kumpara sa kanila eh. Wala naman kasi ako nagawang matino dun sa you know, parang wala naman akong ginawang impactful. I wasn't as impactful during my time there as Ate Ses and Kuya Neil. Parang I'm more like a Shinjiro Aragaki nga eh. Na sobrang aloof na. I was always aloof ha. I was always aloof. But being aloof is different from being an imposter, you know? Like, parang ang hirap ng feeling na akala mo meron ka ng place doon. Akala mo belong ka na doon. Na parang ang sama-sama ko pa for wanting to belong in a place. Pero parang, like, you're trying to look for a place. You're trying to look for a seat in the table na dapat nakalaan para sa'yo. Pero ang ending, it wasn't there. You know, like, parang, to me, it felt like it was just the same old shit happening, you know? I was messaging Kuya Neil after, a few hours after that service, sabi ko. Di nagtatanong siya ng gag. Di ba, giling ko ang gag? Ibig sabihin na parang sinakal ka in a positive way, na parang nakakasakal ng ang ganda, ang galing, jaw on the floor, jaw-dropping performance, parang ganon. Yun ang gag, 'di ba? So, tinanong niya yun sa akin and I was like, yeah, that pretty much explains it. Pero parang, sabi ko, ayoko sabihin kay Ate Jack. Kasi, hindi dahil ayoko sa kanya or anything, but eto na yung sinasabi ko na parang naiinggit ako. Kasi parang, alam niyo yun, super warm. The reception to them being back was so warm. Pero nung bumalik ako nung anniversary, barely anybody greeted me. Parang, kung sino lang yung makilala ko, sila lang yung nagano sa akin. You know? And even them, busy sila, guys. Like, sino ba naman ako para istorbohin sila? Parang, kung pwede nga lang sana, lumabas na lang ako after ng after ng event na yun eh. No? Parang, sana pala lumabas na lang ako after nung event na yun kasi, parang, I wouldn't witness like, yung parang picture nila na lahat ng mga volunteers ng event na yon. And in a way, I was also an imposter kasi wala naman nag-invite sa akin. Kusa lang ako pumunta. That day, I wasn't I wasn't invited by anybody. I just went on my own accord. And I was probably the only one who did that. You know? Kasi parang ako, I was once part of this assembly of people. Siyempre, parang, this is an anniversary event, girl. Parang bilang naging parte din ng ano na yun, I just had to come, Nakakaano pa rin, parang, it's still so weird to me, all of it. Kasi hindi naman madaling maghanap ng place sa isang lugar na, alam mo yun, you were frozen in time and everybody else just moved on. Move forward with their lives. Pero alam nyo ba, ang sabi sa akin ni Ate Jack on that day, ang sabi niya, nun, was to come back with a heart ready to be healed. Pero parang, bakit parang gusto mo na akong lumayo? Ulit? Like, if you wanted, like, for me to be actually open, like, candid, na hindi parang nag-filter ng kung anong nararamdaman ko, that's how it is. Like, that's how it is. Like, if you want the rawest emotion of grief, and I will directly quote what she said. Sabi niya, nalulungkot ako kasi as much as we want to help you, you always project us your pain. Pero ito, i-address ko lang. Bakit sa tingin, like, is it a projection? Or is it just failing to contain too much? Like, guys, here's the thing. It's like suffering in silence, For somebody who's gone through a very harrowing experience, they're silenced into oblivion. They're not able to speak up. And that's what I'm trying to, like, kind of constantly claw my way out of, You want the truth? Here's my truth. Here's the truth about how I feel about all this. Like up until now, kasi hindi pa rin nila napapansin, hindi pa rin nila nabubuksan, hindi pa nila nabubuwag yung pader. That's the thing. Hindi pa nila nabubuwag yung pader na tinayo ko. Because low-key, I wanted people to break that wall and come into, you know, the real essence of the rawest emotion na meron ako, you know? How ironic is it that I am just nearing my 25th year of existence and I just have a whole lot of wisdom in my mind. That it's not even like a fucking joke anymore. Parang, unfortunately, it's real that I have endured something so unspeakable na I don't think anybody else in that fucking room would have ever gone through. You know? Na ang na the irony of that is, did you ever stop to think na it wasn't me, like the current me who was grieving, but the 17, 18-year-old me who never got the chance to see all the milestones, you know? To witness that, to be part of that. And you were there. You were there from the very beginning and you witnessed the foundation, you witnessed how it blossomed. Of course, somebody who had a significant gap between when they first arrived to now, na hindi nila nakikita yun. Siyempre, kikirot yung puso niya. Hindi naman siya something na it's not something negotiable. It's not something to downplay. Unfortunately, I have had enough of downplaying my bullshit, you know? I have had enough downplaying myself as a person. Kahit nga ngayon, dina-downplay ko pa rin sarili ko. Di ba sabi ko kanina, hindi ko pa naramdaman yung kasi parang hindi ko naman deserve. Di ba? Hindi ko naman deserve na mabigyan ng regalo kasi siya magbibigay sa akin, gago naman ako, di ba? So sabi niya, to which we want to understand but only on a certain level that can satisfy you. Sorry if we can't give you the emotional support we need. Pero if lahat sa loob ng simbahan ay magdedemand and wala na magpapataya o magbibigay, we will endlessly hurt people. But the thing is, here's the thing. How ironic is that na people who have actually gone through the most fucked up shit ever have more empathy than people like her, unfortunately. Like, I remember there was one vivid moment. This was back in October, so, you know, I was pretty consistent in my attendance then. This was back in October, and I usually sit at the very back nga, diba? And this was after the preaching, and it was Ate Jamie who was preaching that day. And what I remember is, I was crying so bad. I was crying, like, talagang hagulkol. Like, there was quite a gap between, like, nung bumaba ako sa kanya to like actually hug her. And tapos nung umiyak ako sa taas, sa tabi ng upuan ko, sa hagdan sa tabi ng upuan ko, umiiyak ako nun. And I was just so loudly crying. I was probably the only one who was loudly crying that time. And then after that, Ate Jamie was asking us to hug the person next to us. And then everybody else was sitting. Everybody else was taking their seats. I was the one comforting the person beside me kasi may may one seat gap kasi nilagay ko yung gamit dun sa pagitan ng isang upuan tsaka ng upuan ko. And it was a picture. It was a picture na post sa page, and this was that picture. This was that picture. I was this person. I was the person whose back was to the camera, hugging that person. And I was saying to her, sige lang, umiyak ka lang. I got you. Hayaan mo sila. Umiyak ka lang, I got you. If that's not the rawest if that's not the rawest thing that you could give to somebody, you know, the fact na you don't have to fucking perform in front of me. You can hug me and I got you. Fuck all the people. Kung tumingin mo sila sa atin, bahala sila. And that time, my eyes were dry. As in talagang naiyak ko na lahat ng naiyak ko. And then, balik tayo sa present day, balik tayo sa last Sunday. Pag uwi ko ng bahay, umiiyak ako. Pagkahiga ko, I still had makeup on and I was crying. Parang nasa isip ko, bakit ganun? Bakit? Ang sakit. Ang sakit sa pakiramdam na akala mo natutunaw ka na eh. You thought you're starting to fall. Yung feeling na frozen in time ka, I thought it was starting to fall. And then, somebody comes back and just throws you a whole bunch of snow. You know? And you're frozen again. And I will add, I hope you encounter the healing you need. Na hindi sa tao nakabase kasi we always fail. I hope na aware ka rin na nasasaktan mo ko and other people you project your pain to. I'm not pushing you away but I'm setting a boundary kasi mauubos ako. Pero ito yung last part talaga na I feel like I have to emphasize. The house is open for you to come home. But just like the prodigal son, umuwi siya with a heart that is ready to be healed and loved. But the thing is, here's the thing. It was always ready to heal. It was. Bakit ako magiging consistent, 'di ba? Bakit ako laging nandun kada linggo if it wasn't ready to heal? It was always ready. The thing is, maybe my burdens were too heavy for them to bear. And she was saying before na, why do you let it, why do you, why don't you just carry your own burdens? You could have asked somebody, but you know, this is the unfortunate cost of it. This is the unfortunate cost of putting your burdens onto other people, you know, like the fact na na the fact na um the fact that you let other people shoulder your burdens. This is the cost. And you get why I don't talk. You don't get, I mean, do you get now why I don't want to disclose to people now na talagang, talagang pili na lang. Talagang pili na lang yung pagkukwentuhan ko of the circumstances that have led me here. While people may mean well, it doesn't mean they're able to help. Ang ending, sarili mo pa rin. Ang ending, ganun pa rin ang ano sa'yo. It honestly feels like I just have to leave. Kaya nga the very next day, after that reply, I left the GC. And I don't think I will attend any more services anytime soon. Parang hindi, if that is how this story ends, you know, kaya ko naman to. I've got me. I've always got me. Wala akong choice eh. I had to I had to get my back I had to get back up. Naalala ko nung sinukuan ako ng thesis advisor ko. I had to get myself back up and write the whole damn thing. It's safe to say that she's given up, you know? I can't look at it any other way than somebody's given up. They don't believe na there would be light at the end of the tunnel, you know? I don't fault them. I don't blame them. But I will tell you something. Pili ang kinwentuhan ko nun. It's honestly Giselle, Ate Mylene, and her. Beyond them, no one knows shit, you know? No one knows shit. And I probably would plan to keep it that way. If they want to know, this podcast is available. Pwede nilang i-access to. It's on Spotify. It's on Apple Podcasts. It's on YouTube. But again, the choice is on them. Would they want to hear the rawest feelings? Would they want the most candid conversations? Or rather, the candid confessions? would they want the curse-laced rants na meron ng podcast na to? Because that is the nature of this podcast. This is spontaneous, often filled with curses, a lot of curse words. But most of all, it is raw in its emotion. It displays the most raw emotion of a person. Kung anong talagang nararamdaman niya. You know? As much as I want to filter myself, son of a bitch, that is a no. That's always me. I've always been honest about what I feel. I've always been vulnerable about how I feel. The only problem is, are you ready to take on the challenge of listening to the entire podcast? Kaya mo bang tiisin ang pagmumura ko? Kaya mo bang tiisin the mess of my emotions? Kaya mo bang tiisin na marinig yung mga pinakamabibigat na saloobin ko? Nahanda ka ba pumasok sa mundong to? Dalhin yung bigat, dalhin yung bigat ko kasama mo, 'di ba? Pero kung hindi ang sagot mo sa mga 'yan, then fuck off this podcast. You know? Like, it's just sad na nag-effort na ako to open, nag-effort na ako to be as honest as I possibly could, and it just went off the fucking window. Because somebody decided to come back and just retcon the entire thing. But again, this will be the last episode of probably this season, and definitely of the year. Thank you so much, guys, for making the wildest dreams possible, especially for MMS. Super nakaka-proud na sa spontaneous nature ng podcast na to, and in the season na in the first ever season na nagtatagalog ako, you have showered it with so much love and support. I just want to thank you all, and hopefully I would come back in 2026 with more positive news and more honest conversations. So, I am signing off for this year. This is Midori's Midnight Sessions. Goodbye!